Hello, Cumberland County Realtors. It's Lynn Sullivan, your chapter chair on the CAR Board of Directors. I wanted to send you a quick little video in response to some questions and some feedback that I've gotten about the new commercial listing constraint in the Flex MLS system. So I've gotten a lot of really good questions. I've also gotten some really good comments and feedback and some ideas on next steps. So I wanted to share all of that with you so that everybody's on the same page. So the first thing is probably the questions, and just to make sure that everybody has all of the information. So some of the concerns, probably the first one is, great, not another MLS. For some, it means adding a second. For others, it means adding a third or a fourth MLS. And others, it's just another platform among a myriad of platforms. So I get that. Another one was, it's going to require an additional IDX feed for individual websites. And this is true. This means different things to different people, though, depending on how your website is set up. And so each of us have our own website. The setup and hosting arrangements are going to be different. Of course, there's DIY sites, so that's a concern also. So something else that that has come up. Probably the most conversation that I've had has been around, where was Cumberland County's involvement? Why did we not get asked about this? And so a few years back, there was a vote on whether or not to separate the commercial listings from Flex MLS, which is typically a residential MLS system. And Cumberland County, my understanding is Cumberland County voted against this. And then last year, the issue was brought before the Board of Directors and was met with a lot of questions and concerns from the board. The board asked both the residential MLS committee and the commercial MLS committee to review the questions and concerns, to research answers, and make a recommendation to the board based on that. The input from Cumberland County on the original vote and subsequent conversations and committees was voiced, and part of the discussion and vote included Cumberland County's view, and my understanding is that view has not changed. And so both committees made the recommendation to the Board of Directors based on what was best for the clients attempting to sell larger commercial property. And so the recommendation came from the MLS committee, and the board voted on it. So then the next question that came up was in regards to why $150,000? What was the thought process behind that? And so both the residential MLS committee and the commercial MLS committees believe that $150,000 was a good compromise, and one that allows the majority of common smaller commercial listings found in many rural areas, kind of like ours, to still be placed in the Flex MLS. It also provides for the exposure of the more expensive commercial listings to be on a national platform designed specifically for commercial listings. So that dollar amount was really a compromise. And then what about the cost for those of us with just one or two commercial listings? So that came up as well. And this was a consideration on all fronts. So CAR and the Board of Directors, as you know, has worked diligently to keep our MLS dues and fees down. And, they're really quite low compared with other area MLSs. So there's several neighboring associations that are much smaller with dramatically higher fees. So that being said, the decision was made to reduce the cost of this change as much as possible by waiving the $100 application fee that goes along with becoming a member of the commercial MLS. For any member selling larger commercial properties, the cost of joining Catalyst to obtain the listing benefits it offers includes local, state, and national exposure for an entire year. And the cost of that is really less than one advertisement in like a Homes and Land magazine. So, I understand that anytime you add a cost, you've got to make a business decision around that. And so CAR is mindful of that. And we've kept the dues really low on the residential side. And for the commercial side, they're trying to work with us so that it's not a huge hit all at once. It might not be a perfect solution. And I really appreciate your professionalism and your feedback around this. I've also received several ideas and thoughts on what's next and positive feedback on the opportunity that this presents. And I'd like to share some of those with you as well so that everybody has the same benefit of that information. And so one option obviously is to walk away, and that has come up. You can choose a different MLS. Under NAR's Board of Choice policy, a realtor's free to join whichever local association they choose. Option one. Another option, for those of you who are already members of multiple MLSs, it might be a matter of listing your commercial listings in the other MLS if they allow it, and just using the Knoxville MLS for your smaller commercial properties and your residential properties. And I don't know why I didn't even think about this. So another option, obviously, is that you can just drop CAR entirely. So if you're a member of another MLS and you don't want to duplicate the residential, then obviously you can drop CAR. Or if you're only a member of CAR and you only want to be part of one MLS, you can choose another MLS and drop CAR entirely. As your chapter chair, I want to assure you that I am committed to representing our county in the Knoxville Area Association of Realtors, and I'm going to remain a member and continue to serve on the board of directors. So I'm not going anywhere on that. So don't worry about that. Another option that I've received is to partner with another office or realtor member who is a member of Catalyst. Of course, referring deals between agents is already a common solution to increasing exposure, and co-listing was another idea that was shared. So be sure to talk with your broker, of course, about any options that you consider as far as partnering or working with other realtors. There's also the option to try it. For those who are already paying for another platform for national commercial listing exposure, Catalyst is a much more affordable program. One of the other very popular commercial listing platforms used by our realtor members costs almost $100 a month per listing. With Catalyst, it costs $336 for a full year for all of your commercial listings. So that is, again, that's an option. And of course, that's the one that the board is hoping that you will take. I hope this has been helpful to you and has answered your questions. If you have any other questions or ideas that I haven't mentioned, I welcome your input. You can call me, you can send me an email, or stop by the office. And if you'd like, I'll meet you somewhere in town. We can go grab a cup of coffee. So thanks again for your input and for your support.